Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning LaLa Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jez Moyer. This is Good Morning LaLa Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also available on Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app.
That's right. It's hashtag Transformation Tuesday. We're going to talk about mastering your EQ, your emotional intelligence. We come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, align with universal law, and have some great guests.
That's right. Get that EQ up. I love the EQ.
I bet you can speak a lot on
Oh my goodness, yeah. Because
yeah.
most of my life I struggled with EQ.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know, I was really, I think, they say EQ is more highly correlated with success than IQ. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yep.
Ooh, after we welcome our very special guests to the show. Good morning, everyone, back in the studio. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
We're so grateful that you're with us today. We're talking joy from fear on Transformation Tuesday with Dr. Manley. How are you?
Hello, I'm really wonderful. How are you?
Oh, we're so excited. This is going to be a very important conversation later in the show. But first, Doctor, we want to know, how do you start your day? What's your morning routine?
Morning routine, I wake up, kiss my sweetheart, say my gratitudes for the morning, sing a song as I go to the kitchen, put on Louis Armstrong. It's a wonderful day, it's a wonderful morning. I make myself a cup of tea, get breakfast for my honey, and prepare for my day, all the while being really mindful of how blessed I am and how lucky I am to be alive and what a beautiful world we live in.
Wow, that is a picturesque morning.
I feel really
Right?
sorry for her partner.
I know, right?
Awful life with
That's
that woman. She's
incredible.
amazing.
And that's one of my favorite songs, that Louis Armstrong. It's a Wonderful Life song.
Ah, so beautiful. Thank you for being with us today. We've got Victoria Renee in the house. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on the release of your latest single. Are you so excited?
Thank you. I'm so excited. So excited.
Well, we want to know all about that later in the show. But first, how does a musician like you start her day? What's your morning routine?
I go through phases. I went through, I think it was last month, I went through I would wake up and I would get lemon and lukewarm water phase. And right now I'm really into apple cider vinegar shots in the morning. Yeah. And then I'm actually, before I step out of bed, right now, funny you might have said this, I'm doing a 21-day gratitude journal. So every single day I write, as soon as I wake up, 3 things that I'm grateful for, different every day. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what'd you write today?
Well, today I wrote that I was grateful for the opportunity to come in here today, to be able to share. It's so awesome that we have these platforms where we can stream and share our stories and what we're doing. That wasn't always a possibility. And I'm grateful for my husband because he's so awesome. Lincoln, he's just an incredible human being. I'm really lucky. I got one of the good guys. And I'm grateful for my puppy, Lex. He's a husky. He's not a puppy at all. I call all dogs puppies. He's hilarious. He's a human. I'm positive. He takes his paw and just like boops me in the morning to wake me up, which is adorable. And that's pretty much how I start my day.
Man, super polite dog. I love that. Doesn't bark at you, doesn't jump on you.
I know. He'll just like ever so gently just nuzzle you. So cute.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today. Dan Creighton is in the house, hot off Nickelodeon's Hunter Street. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning. How are you guys?
We're so excited. Congratulations on the release of season 3. We want to know all about it later in the show. But first, how does a young actor like you start his day? What's your morning routine?
Well, definitely on a filming day, I get up early. I try to get a good breakfast. I say hey, good morning to my family because I have a very big family and we try to have breakfast together every morning, even though it's pretty hard because we're all not very morning people. I walk my dog for about 5 minutes because that's just a great way to start the morning. Go outside, walk my dog. Always super excited, always super happy. Go over my lines again and then head to set.
Wow, breakfast together. That is life goals right there.
I know, right?
Man, I don't remember the last time I had breakfast with anybody. I love my entire family. That's incredible.
Well, thank you all so much for being with us. We look forward to continuing the conversation later in the show.
Right, we all wake up so different at different times.
Yeah, are you kidding me? I'm going to call it 4 a.m. Hey.
It's hard to even have dinner together.
Yes,
I mean, especially me because I eat dinner so early, so it's always a battle when we're on family vacations. Everyone wants to eat 8. I'm like, can we eat at 5?
It's true. Just getting the schedules coordinated alone is enough. Yeah, a little tough.
How are you guys?
We're excited, so congratulations. The last Girl Church of the Summer tonight.
It is, that is.
What?
We are actually, it's actually full moon tomorrow night. We should have we're going to be doing, of course, it's interesting because we're going to be talking about emotions because it's also about the royal sovereignty around our high higher, power and really the ruler of our life. But if we don't master our emotions, then we're just the effect of our own creation.
That's right. Then the conditions, circumstances, and other people in your life dictate how you feel and how you do.
And that's what's so fascinating, right? When I remember, I don't know if you guys know, but did you have a moment where you realized, like the first time, you're like, no one can actually make me feel anything?
Yeah, without your own consent.
Yeah, like that's amazing.
Yeah,
I was like, what do you mean? I was pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
I know. I was always convinced that whatever happened in my life, there was a direct correlation between what was happening and how I felt.
Totally.
I didn't realize that there was like this sort of zone where I could sort of spin or tell myself a better feeling story and thus interpret it differently so that I felt better.
I know,
it's
really
major
interesting.
That was only a very recent discovery. To be quite honest, like it was just maybe in the past couple years where I realized that I could protect my energy, if you will, and not be affected by the nerves of someone else, especially in the line of what we do. Sometimes I'd find myself interviewing these people on the red carpet and they were so nervous, and all of a sudden I would get nervous.
Yes.
Why am I feeling the way they're feeling right now? Only because I was just so open to that energy exchange. If my boyfriend was having a bad day, I was having a bad day. If my mom was upset, I was upset. I wasn't really upset, but I just was experiencing all of their emotion.
Yeah, Jazz,
So
that was a
true.
discovery for me too, like being an empath, right? And I remember being young and I was always stressed and anxious and sort of upset. And I realized that, a large part of that was me, but it was also the people that I was surrounded by, whether it was classmates or people out in the world. It was just sort of an incredible discovery to realize that part of this is me, also part of this is emotional contagion.
Completely. Which is you guys are actually having a very advanced conversation.
Very advanced,
EQ,
Erin,
right?
very advanced, yeah.
Because, the basics of EQ is like, if you put meaning on something, it all comes down to your value system and how you are seeing things as you have them, whether they're going to be going away or whatever you value. And so it's all contingent upon the meaning you put around. But you guys are talking about a really advanced EQ, which I think is, I don't know if they call it EQ or not, but I definitely think it affects us. And I think that we can't fully protect ourselves, and that's why it is important to make sure you're around the right people, because there's only so much we can do to shield and not have meaning around it, but I can't help but not feel someone if they're in my sphere.
Yeah,
There's no way.
totally.
Yeah.
And so how would you define EQ, Erin?
For me, and I think it's different, like the emotional intelligence is the capacity of individuals to recognize and own the emotions of others versus themselves. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I don't know if that's what you'd find in
Yeah,
the
it's understanding your own emotions, understanding that of other people, and then being able to sort of, there's other components to that, which is like being able to sort of regulate what you feel despite what other people might be.
But this is what I think is so fascinating, and the most amazing thing about emotional intelligence is I believe all of life is here for our awakening, right? So if somebody's coming into your life and they're bringing out fear, or they're bringing out anger, or they're bringing out frustration, that's the opportunity to look and see, what am I really afraid of? Because they can't actually, like, what are they going to do? Like, other than, of course, if they like physically, affect you, mentally, like, it's really an inner game of like realizing, like, what is it that I'm so afraid of?
Oh, totally, absolutely. I think one of the best things that I sort of, greatest insights was the realization that like the best response is often no response, or the best reaction is no reaction.
Right.
Like, I don't have to think anything about what's happening. I don't have to feel anything about what's happening. I can simply be there as a non-judgmental observer and remain non-reactive.
But it's really important to remain present and aware. Being non-reactive doesn't mean that you're tuning out and just not reacting to the situation at all. You really have to be present and aware of the way you're feeling.
Oh, it's a great point. We call it spiritual bypassing. Like if you're just like, just not in, like completely removed from this whole world. Like the goal is to feel whatever emotion's there and actually have that emotion give you the intelligence and information of what still needs to be healed, of what's really going on and what's being projected out. Like if you're afraid of, say, someone abandoning you, or someone cheating on you, or somebody, not liking you, what's really going on, and how do we move past that emotion? Really, a lot of it's just totally feeling that emotion and knowing that we can still move forward. I think it's like the old reptilian brain versus where we're going in consciousness, which is so important.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the value of the prefrontal cortex, right?
Right.
Gets in the way so often, it creates these problems and struggles for us, and at the same time, it's really great at solving problems.
I don't know about what did you say, the vortex?
Prefrontal cortex. Same
Same thing.
Vortex, yeah. Very Abraham Hicks.
It's like you're dating. He's so prefrontal cortex.
He's
so
such
reptilian
vortex.
brain.
Well, I read a really interesting quote about this EQ from Aristotle, and it said anybody can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person and to the right degree at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that's not within everybody's power. It's not easy. I thought that was really interesting because that really requires you to be very in tune with your emotional reaction, engage it. I mean, I've been in relationships where I thought, why are you raging out at me right now over stroganoff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this amount of anger does not equal what is happening.
So sometimes we call those iceberg beliefs, right? Where there's a reaction that's out of proportion to the actual experience of the event, like at hand. I love that Aristotle quote, and I would also say that I feel very strongly that, like, after spending so much of my life being sad and angry, like those are the only two emotions I've been experiencing for like decades, that ultimately, no matter how justified or valid or legitimate your anger is, it's still a very, like, a crappy way to spend your life. Right? And so it doesn't matter, and that's part of the challenge, is that everybody who's angry believes that they're right and justified in being angry.
Of course.
Of course they
That's the
are.
point of being angry, right?
We're all right.
Yeah.
And I think this is mastery of emotions. But the worst emotion, in my opinion, you can get into is actually apathy, which is really feeling like nothing is of value, and that really becoming like what's the point to all this? And we don't want to get there, so we want to actually be able to feel and express and believe that we're going to be able to create whatever we truly wanted to create. If not, then we will begin to go into apathy.
I love that point. So the godfather of positive psychology, Marty Seligman, he is really sort of an expert in learned helplessness. That's how he began his career, and it was all about the ways in which learned helplessness leads to depression and then ultimately can lead to suicide. And that's where I was. I was like I felt deeply helpless and powerless in the face of everything and anything that was happening in my life. And it does lead you to some pretty dark places.
Yeah, not fun.
So if somebody finds that place of apathy within themselves, what can they do to pull themselves out of it?
That is a restoration of spiritual work. So that's really going in and seeing where you felt like you were the effect of life over and over again, and restoring that actually how you created that at a subconscious level, so you can actually see that in that creation of apathy or depression, you have the free will to create joy and abundance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
And definitely seek help.
Yeah,
there are
definitely seek
professionals,
help, for
people who
sure.
have spent their
Yeah.
entire lives. I think we're all one of them that have spent our entire life. I've spent my entire life just focused on one thing. I can't tie my shoelaces, but the one thing I know a lot about is this one tiny space of positive psychology. And so seek people who can be supportive, who have been through it.
So speaking of, are you taking clients now?
Yeah, I have a bit of a waiting list, but I'm always open and receptive to helping people.
He's a great
in
one
any
for
way
you.
I can.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly.
Always, yes.
Appreciate that.
I love that. So anyway, we do have Girl Church tonight. Speaking of, it's at 7 to 8:30 p.m. tonight at Kimpton Lapeer 5-star Hotel in West Hollywood. We'll be knowing the truth and fulfilling upon our legacy that we're leaving here
Where
today.
can people get tickets? And
They can DM me on Instagram at drerin.tv or any of our Instagrams. We get all of them. So,
Fantastic.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Where can you watch the stories of people changing the world? EverTalk TV, the Netflix of talk. I'm Jessica Moyer, the co-founder and host of EverTalk TV, and I am thrilled to introduce you to America's first live video streaming talk show network.
I'm so excited to be here on the couch with all you amazing people.
Yeah.
I'm just in complete awe. Thank you.
Happy to be here. And for those who don't know what goes on, this is a big old, there's a lot going on here.
lot
You do
going
this
on
every
here.
day.
Live.
God
live
bless you
TV.
guys. I
Right?
mean, people, there's a lot going on.
Thank you for having me. This is an awesome studio.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, you
I feel that, actually. I can feel that.
How exciting Motivation Monday. And the guests this morning have been incredible.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you.
And we have Rachel Boston, who is in The Last Bridesmaid on Hallmark. It actually is dropping tomorrow, the 22nd, right?
It is. Tomorrow night's our premiere.
Woo! How exciting.
Congratulations! I am so excited to welcome Jason and Ashley Waller to the show. Congratulations on the new beginnings. We're so excited for the premiere on MTV tonight.
Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Thank you.
The book is actually being shipped out today. It published this week.
What?
Congratulations. You guys are
Super
the
cool.
first show that I've actually done talking about the book.
I think this is my first time my book's been up on TV. This is awesome.
Our friends at Universal Pictures have a special delivery for us this morning from a tethered himself. Have you seen the film Us by Academy Award
my
winner
gosh.
Jordan Peele?
You know, I'm sitting here next to you guys, and it's just like, this is a powerful moment for me. Like, you know, I'm humbled by it, because it's like I'm sharing this movie with you guys, and you know, it's moving for me.
What are you most grateful for today?
I am so grateful to be here and to have the opportunity to be with all these wonderful, badass boss babes and with all of you. And it's just a wonderful opportunity to share the positive messages out in the world, because I think the world really needs it right now.
What we've done and thanking me for the contribution we're making to their lives.
Oh,
and I thought,
nice. That's
this
great.
is what my purpose is. This is why I was born.
Now,
show it off.
camera.
Up to you to choose the winner. Is it Annie? Is it Haley?
That's why I like this show. You know, years ago I did the Dinah Show, which is Dinah Shore, and it was a daytime show. And it was kind of like this. It was just like very up, and it was all positive stuff. They didn't bring negative stuff to the audience. And that's why I feel with this show. It's very relaxed. You know, it's very professional, but it's quite a bit of fun.
You can binge watch and binge watch.
You can binge watch.
And you can binge watch, or you can binge watch. Please binge watch. You can binge watch and binge them on EverTalk TV. Thanks for coming. Bye.
First TV experience. I'm so happy I did it with you.
That will inspire, uplift, and empower you. Anytime, anywhere on EverTalk TV, your home for talk.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning, LaLa, and furthering the conversation around EQ, our emotional intelligence. We have Dr. Carla Manley in the house, an expert psychologist, author, advocate, and these amazing books, Joy from Fear and Aging Joyfully. It's perfect.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
So inspired by your mornings. Your honey is an awfully lucky man.
He is. I'm lucky too. He's lucky.
I love that.
On Transformation Tuesday, I think this is an incredible conversation on transforming fear into joy. And especially in this age where we're all burned out. So what is really kind of the difference between burnout and fear, and how does it correlate?
Burnout is the body's sense and the mind's sense of being exhausted after encountering chronic stress, where the system, we're intended to have a fight or flight response only occasionally when there's a real threat in the environment. But given today's environment, we're constantly perceiving threats, not real threats. There's no bear waiting around the corner or tiger, but we have these constant threats, whether it's political, whether it's toxins in our food, whether it's unhealthy relationships. And so elevated levels of cortisol, adrenaline, just flooding our system and leading us. Another really big piece of that is that we have this sense that we must achieve, that we must be perfect, we must look perfect, we must act perfect. And so much of the media makes it look that way. The person next to us or the person on Facebook or wherever is looking absolutely perfect. So we think we need to be that way as well. And so underneath all of that is this fear, I'm not good enough. I'm not perfect enough, I'm not worthy, I must keep achieving and moving. And then we get really exhausted and burned out because we're on this really fast hamster wheel. And what would happen if we just paused, realized how perfect we are? We're all fallible, we all make mistakes, we're all imperfect, but in a way we are really perfect. And it's not the material gain in the outside world that will really give us what we need. What we need is a connection to our divine, whatever that is. We need a sense of slowing down. And this is what I believe joy is. We need that sense of joy that is really in us. And people will often say, well, what's the difference between joy and happiness? And I'll say, well, I like to look at it this way. Pleasure is something that you get from a substance or from an event. Happiness is something that you feel when the world is good and everything is great, right? I feel happy because I did this or that.
Joy is an eternal light that we're all born with, and I liken it to like a little candle, a little votive, and we're born with this votive that's glimmering, and then we have life situations and events through childhood, adolescence, adulthood that kind of create a soot around the glass case, and the more the soot builds up and we don't clean it off because we don't pause or we don't have the awareness, but the joy is always there. It is just there waiting for us to clean off the buildup and realize, wait a second, this is good. Who I am is good. Yes, I can keep striving to be more aligned with my higher power, with my beliefs, but really in essence, and do you see how then that makes joy so accessible? And all of that soot is the buildup of our fears, many of which are irrational.
I just love that. So how can a person who believes or wants to believe that there's this little votive candle inside that's lit, how can they access that and then sort of turn it into something that radiates out from them? So how can they access that joy that's inside themselves in a consistent way through the pause?
One of the things that I love doing is I volunteer once a week at a drug and alcohol rehab center to teach meditation. Who would think meditation could be an incredible gift to these women? I've done it for years and years now, and I'll run into them in the community, and they'll say, Dr. Carla, it's so good to see you. You've changed my life. And they'll access my videos on YouTube once they're out of treatment. Why? Because it stills the mind. So instead of reaching for substances, instead of reaching for some sort of addiction, they learn that they have the ability. And so to answer your question, that's how we can access joy. Meditating, stopping the mind, and it doesn't need to be a seated formal meditation. I'm kind of a busy bee, so I meditate when I walk. I meditate when I'm doing the dishes. One of my favorite things to do is wash dishes or sweep the floor, because those are all meditative things. So we can stop the hamster wheel mind and really just get in touch, release. I was listening, to your talk before I came on, and how important it is to get that divine connection, whatever that is. If your higher power is nature, love, God, whatever it is, to really tune into that and know that that's what you're accessing. You're getting rid of all this extraneous fear, all of these voices that are telling you that you're not safe, that you're not good enough.
What would you say for people that, because I completely agree, and I think that even if I'm not in fear, even whatever, just the amount of generating that we do every day, I get burnout because I need to reconnect to source. And if I don't reconnect to source, nothing works in my life. But for people that are not necessarily advanced meditators, or they can't really tap in at that level, what other things can they do to begin to transform the fear to joy?
Some of the things that you can do that are really simple is to create a gratitude jar. So you create a clear jar, whatever it is, a cup, anything, put it on your countertop and fill it with little positive thoughts, whether it's a positive song or a positive poem or a positive affirmation. And then when you're starting to feel stressed, simply reach in, pull one out, read it to yourself. Deep breath in. I'm a big breathing fan. Deep breath out. Deep breath in, because when you breathe like that, you're bringing on your parasympathetic nervous system. You cannot help but slow yourself down because you're taking these deep 4-count inhalations, deep 4-count exhalation, and your body's saying, I'm safe. And then that is one of the most portable, cost-effective, because it's free, ways of learning to be present and mindful. Another one that's really easy is when you're eating or drinking, pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to the taste of your oatmeal, to the taste of your tea. Really savor it, because that brings you back into the present. And when you're savoring the present, the busy mind that wants to torture you doesn't really have much of a chance.
But Dr. Medley, not all fear is bad. Some fear can be constructive. So how can one decipher between destructive and constructive fears?
Okay. Fear does serve a purpose. So it's the fear that says, hey, wait for the green light at the crosswalk so that you don't get run over by a car, or steer clear of the snarling dog. That's all, that is real fear, rational fear. Then we move into what I coined the terms of destructive fear and constructive fear. Destructive fear has a loud, mean voice. It will tell you you're not good enough, that you have to stay busy, or that you're worthless, or you're imperfect, or it's has this negative commentary going on. It's a bully, and that's how I look at it. It's a bully on a sidewalk, and we are so used to that bully on the sidewalk telling us what we can and cannot do. If we turn that bully around and look for the soft, quiet side, that's constructive fear. And it will tell us that change is possible, that we can find our better selves and continue that path. And there's always, but we must slow down and listen to it. So if you can use that image of the bully that's very present, very talkative, very loud, and always negative. And then there's a softer side, the yin and the yang of it. And that's constructive fear. And then if you start listening to constructive fear and then start taking action, that's where transformational fear comes in. That's how you transform your life. By really believing that you can do it one step at a time, getting the support you need if you're not feeling strong enough to do it on your own, and making it through that way. One, just bitsy steps.
So, how can we age joyfully? This is an important conversation because, especially here in Hollywood, we'll never readily admit our age. I mean, women for centuries never wanted to admit their age. So how can we age joyfully?
Well, that's my second book. It just came out. And Aging Joyfully, to me, we have a culture that believes that we're beautiful at, 20, and then beauty stops there. I believe that beauty is in here. And so when I look at somebody, I'll say, oh my God, I just saw the most gorgeous person. And my husband or my son will look and go, what? And I'm reading energy. I'm not paying attention to the outside, I'm reading energy, because that's what's important. So if we start valuing the inside of a person, how they treat other people, how they treat themselves, to me that creates an eternal radiance that has nothing to do with chronological years. And yes, if we want to look pretty on the outside, then do what you want to do so that you like the face in the mirror, if that's what you want to do. But really cultivating that sense that you're never past your prime. Me, I am just, for the first time in my life, feeling free. I'm feeling free, like I have this entire, I don't know how many decades I have on the planet. We never know, even if we're 10, right? So what do I want to do? And you open up this world where your kids are grown and you're free. And you look and you go, every day is this like amazing opportunity, and I'm doing work that I love to do. And so if we start following our passion, and also I believe that one of the ways to age joyfully is to volunteer, give back. Give back. If it's financially, I try and give financially. I try to give of my hands, and I think that creates an ageless sense of beauty. And if we also then move into, I go in both books really into working on your relationships, relationship with yourself, getting true with yourself, knowing what that looks like, knowing what your moral compass is, and following it ferociously. That creates joy, that creates radiance.
Ferociously. Amelia, I don't think there's anything ferocious about you. You are just radiating joy. Thank you for all the light and wisdom that you shared with us this morning. Please tell everyone where they can find and follow you.
Find me, my website, drcarlamanly.com, M-A-N-L-Y. Same on Facebook, same on Instagram, same on LinkedIn, same on Twitter.
All the things. Yes.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Back. Lauren, good morning, LaLa Land. I'm Jasmine Moyeg, host of Good Morning LaLa Land on EverTalk TV. As a little girl with big dreams, I couldn't stop talking. I turned that into a career of premieres at red carpets and even a talk show. And recently, I had my aha moment. I was hosting a live event. A woman who represented a national cancer support community gently pulled me aside from the glitz and the glam, and she thanked me for mentioning their program on my show. Because of those few words that I had spoke on air earlier that week, one of our viewers battling cancer reached out and got the financial and emotional support she so desperately needed. I'm so grateful to have experienced that moment, a moment that truly reflects how much conversation and community matters. We need more of what matters. It is my passion and purpose to create content and lead a conversation that will ignite the light in my community and empower them to live their best lives, starting today. I'm Jasmine Moyeg, and I'm a host on EverTalk TV. from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning Island. I am so excited to welcome this young star on the rise. Dan Creighton is here, hot off the release of Nickelodeon's Hunter Street. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's an incredible show. It's one of the top 5 shows for the youth category across the board in the United States. Congratulations. It's
Congratulations.
massively
Thank you
successful.
so much.
Huge.
Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about your journey and what we can expect for season 3.
Well, my journey with the show is I've been playing on it for 3 seasons. But the first season, my character, he's this whiz kid. He's this like nerdy guy who does like technical stuff and experiments and whatnot. But in the first season, he was like more scared and not as confident, and just like sat behind his computer doing like technical stuff and experiments. And the second season, he comes a little bit more out of his shell, but he's just very like heartfelt and like a naive boy. And then the third season, he becomes like more of like, he does more things. Like we go to places where I'm not allowed to go. Like Sal, my character, he used to be very like, if somebody says no, it's no. And I was like, oh, but I'm so curious, I have to go check it out. You know?
Well, we have a look at season 3 trailer. Let's see.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Welcome to Hunter Street.
Wait for it.
You guys are not like other families I've stayed with.
Home to a brand new mystery.
Guys, wake up! Eric and Kate are gone!
Can we freak out now? I play Max, who's the new kid in this family.
Where the only way the Hunter family can crack the case is to do it together.
The parents have disappeared. We have to figure out between siblings how to get them back.
What's that? We found our first clue.
When we go to different places, it becomes an adventure to find them.
Gotta go faster!
But to uncover the truth,
What if it's some kind of code?
they'll have
I could use a little help. Somebody tries to set up a huge trap.
or who.
Do I have your attention?
I was at
It's crazy. You okay?
Hunter Street.
Looks so fun.
Does look fun.
So how much are you like in real life? Are you like your character?
Not that much. I'm not that much of like a whiz kid or like with the computer. I'm not the guy who does like experiments, but he does have a big family, which it sounds cliche, but he'll do anything for his family and anything to like, you know, protect them and whatnot. And I definitely do the same. Like I have a very big family, 3 older sisters, 1 younger brother. So like that, I'm the same, but like with the technical stuff and like the techie stuff, I'm not that much, not much like.
What's your journey in Hollywood been like?
It's been surreal. It's honestly been surreal because I live in Amsterdam and I got introduced to like this Hollywood experience about 2 years ago, and I've been learning ever since. But it's so different from Amsterdam, like the vibe. But it's amazing.
Wait. How did you're in Amsterdam?
Yeah.
And then how did this all come about?
Well, I was born in Amsterdam. I lived there for 8 years. I started with acting actually like at a very young age. Like when I was really, really little, me and my little brother, we used to like dress up like pirates and like that kind of stuff. And to this day, we still like do like some scenes like just as a joke, you know? But that's like looking back at it, that's really how it started. Like thinking about doing these fun scenes. I'm like, oh wow, this is like a lot of fun to do. And then so I decided to, so actually thanks to my oldest sister, she had like this photo shoot with something. So I went with her and they asked if they could take some photos of me. So I said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then they were like, have you ever considered acting or something like that? I was like, well, no, I haven't thought about it, but it seemed pretty cool. So then I signed with this casting bureau, and then I got like these small auditions, like commercials, and like I learned from that. And then I moved to San Francisco, and again, just small commercials and stuff like that. And then when I moved back to Amsterdam from San Francisco, it was like 2 years later that I booked the show.
Wow.
What?
That's incredible.
That's like winning the lottery. I mean, really,
Yeah, no,
like
it was
what?
crazy.
It's so, I mean,
Incredible.
amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
What's been the hardest part of your journey so far?
The hardest part has definitely, it's been probably doing, like I go to a private school, but I still go to school. So it's like combining filming with school, just because it's like filming is so much fun. And so after shooting day, I go home, I have tutoring, and then the next day filming again, and then go home tutoring. So it was pretty draining going from set straight to tutoring, and then school, set, tutoring, just all of that. But it worked out in the end, and I mean, it was so fun to shoot, and school still worked out as well.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Hunter Street seems like such an incredible adventure. What have been some of your favorite highlights over the past 3 seasons?
Basically, since we're such like a tight-knit group, we're always like hanging out with each other. We're very close, all of us, everybody on the cast, we're all very close. So it's just a lot of fun to shoot scenes that we film together, because it's just so funny. It's just such a nice vibe. But this season as well, something that was really funny was my character had to fly a drone through a forest. And then the funniest thing is I can't fly a drone. Like I can't do, like they gave me a drone like 2 weeks before we shot that scene, like to, like here, good luck, like learn how to fly this. I'm like, okay. So I tried and it was like crashing everywhere, and it was, because it was a real drone that we had to use, so I had to be careful. So what happened was, so somebody from the crew flew the drone, and then the drone had to crash. Like in the show, it had to crash. But we had like this tree, we're like, okay, that tree has to crash in because it's low and we can reach it. So what happened was he lost control as well. So it crashed in a very high tree, and everybody from the crew was eventually like throwing branches and twigs trying to get that down out. So yeah, that was definitely like, that was one of the best experiences.
Oh my God.
That is awesome. What have you learned about sort of yourself and sort of being an actor from the other either folks on the sort of cast or?
It's really eye-opening. Like I've learned a lot based of like on like my acting experiences, like how much I've grown as an actor has definitely come from the people that I filmed with, like Stoney Blyden, he's very talented in the first season, Thomas Jansen, Kira Smith, everybody from the cast, like Wilson, they're just super talented. And like I have taken acting classes, which do teach you a lot, like don't get me wrong, but being on set with those type of people, so those talented actors, that really teaches you more about acting and more about yourself and everything like that.
Wow. So what do you think is next for you?
You know, I honestly hope that like this show is a lot of fun to film. So I hope for its fourth season, obviously, but it would be great to play in something more like more edgy or more drama or more like that horror type of vibe. I think that'd be really cool to play.
The horror vibe.
Yeah.
Who are your favorite actors?
Oh, for sure. Ansel Elgort. I love everything that he's done. Like Men, Women, and Children, such an inspiring movie. And then like anything Timothée Chalamet is doing, he's so talented as well. Definitely those two guys. I definitely look up to those two guys, for sure.
So where do you live now?
I live in Amsterdam.
You do?
I do.
So you film here and then you go back?
No. We actually film everything from the show in Amsterdam, and that's funny as well because we use a lot of like the Amsterdam landmarks as a filming location. So there's this really famous museum called the Rijksmuseum, which is where the Night Watch is, and usually that room is super crowded. But we got to film in that museum after closing time, and that was so surreal. That was crazy because I lived in Amsterdam my whole life. Like I visited that museum, and it's so busy, and then I get to film in it.
Wow.
Like, it was awesome.
Well, thanks for making my life seem very boring. You kidding me?
Well, just have to go visit Hunter Street.
Exactly.
So Dan, please tell everyone where they can find and follow your journey, because it's a very exciting one.
For sure. Definitely check out Hunter Street every weekday on Teen Nick at 6:30, and follow me on Instagram at Dan Creighton.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you so much.
More on Good Morning La La Land.
Hi, I'm Dr. Erin, host of Good Morning La La on
Where can you
EverTalk
watch the
TV.
stories of people changing in the world? EverTalk TV.
I'm a doctor of divinity, and I absolutely love being
in
a
a
host.
digital
and the
media
reason why
world
is
filled
because
with
each day I
incredible
wake up
podcasts that
and I
are
come
the
into the studio,
evolution
and
of
I'm
radio.
always blown
EverTalk
away
is bringing this
by
audio
the
experience
amount of
to
different
television.
stories coming together.
I'm Jezza
My
Moye, the
mission is
co-founder and
to
host
awaken
of
a
EverTalk
billion
TV,
people,
and I am
and
thrilled
I
to
have been
introduce
blown
you
away
to
to
America's
realize that
first
it's not
live
just
video
the
streaming
spiritual
talk show
people
network.
that we talk
EverTalk
to
is an entertainment
people
and
that are on
lifestyle
reality
platform
TV.
that
We talk to
illuminates
actors. We talk to people who
and
have
showcases
incredible stories and
inspiring
trials
stories
and
that
triumphs.
offer insight,
And there's a common
inspiration,
denominator
and
between all of them.
thought-provoking
Every single
conversations on
person
positivity,
desires to have a greater
wellness,
life
insta-faith,
and awaken to
and
the
empowerment,
best life
all
they can
while
live.
celebrating the
I'm
trials
Dr.
and
Erin, and
triumphs
I'm a
of those
host
who are
on
igniting a
EverTalk
positive
TV.
change in the world. These curated talk shows are hosted by passionate, talented personalities who themselves have been inspired by others to give back through their on-air efforts and create a community to helping our viewers live the life they truly deserve. New binge-worthy content is added daily in our Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are so excited to celebrate The Last Time, the new single by Victoria Renee herself. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is The Last Time? What's the story behind this song? I have a feeling it's a good one.
The Last Time, well, so the cool thing about music is I can write something and to me it means one thing, but it can mean something completely different to other people. It's kind of like a universal language in that way. Or like some people might say how the Bible is like a living, breathing organism. That's kind of how music is. So for me, Last Time was about being present and living in the moment like it's gonna be your last time alive. Like, make every single day count, because tomorrow's not promised.
When was the last time you really felt that, experienced that last time feeling in your life?
Oh, I try to do it all the time. It's like something I'm practicing every moment, honestly. I'm trying really hard to, and it takes practice, it does, to be present in every single moment. Like when you're walking up the stairs, feel the wood meeting your foot. Feel, you know,
Right.
it's
So
just,
good, so good.
yeah.
Turn everything into sort of a moving meditation.
Right.
Yeah, it's like when I'm in the shower, I'll be in the shower and not in my meeting.
Right,
at,
exactly.
2 hours from now.
But so,
you know,
right.
Yeah.
But, so speaking of, I know, we're here present, but you have an amazing past, right? Tell us about the journey to getting to this place.
Well, that's quite a story. It's a long story. To make a long story short, when I was a little girl, I suffered from PTSD. I had a pretty bad case of it. I had selective mutism, which is where you choose not to talk. I didn't not just talk, I didn't communicate in any way, ever. And one day, my mom found me just belting out the Little Mermaid song, and she was doing the scales when they were, who was it, Ursula was trying to take her voice from her, which had literally happened to me, okay, like emotionally. And I just started just belting it out. I just resonated, literally resonated. It's like, music has so many great terminologies. It resonated with me so deeply, and I had, she was control and a big voice, and they were so shocked, and they're like, "What are we gonna do with this? You sing now? Like, you didn't even talk." And I was like, "Well, it gave me my own voice, in a literal term, gave me my own voice." And I started to sing, and I wanted to go on stage and perform. And I was afraid, of course I was. My mom was like, "Well, that's a terrible idea. You just started talking like 7 minutes ago.
I want to work at it a little.
You want to go on stage right now?" I'm like, yeah. She's like, "Okay." So I got into this competition, and I won the competition, and then I went to nationals, and then I won nationals, and then I got the show in Vegas, and then everything kind of just dominoed from there, and I got my sense of identity back, and I was able to communicate not just on stage, but so you know how people oftentimes when they're on stage that they have like an alter ego, like Beyonce or Sasha Fierce, Some people, like Britney Spears, they're said to be very shy in person, but when they're on stage, they have this bigger than life personality. I kind of I had this realization that I can be that person that I am on stage in real life. Like, that's an option.
And what was
I
the
can
show
design my
that
own life.
you had in Vegas? Didn't you guys tour?
Yeah. No, I did cover songs, and it was for the CMA, for the Country Music Organization of America. And I did, where was it? The Showboat. I was at the Showboat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was so
Amazing.
fun. Yeah.
So then what happened? So you're on that show, you've gone from not talking at all to singing on stage. You discover that you could be this person, whether you're on stage or not, because we're all just characters, we're creating our characters here anyway, right?
Yeah.
And then what?
So then I went to school, because I was leaving school to go do that. And I just started doing show choir in school, just normal kid stuff. And then I got a scholarship to college, and I was doing business administration, and I was like, what am I doing? This is not what I do. I do music. That's what I do. That's what speaks to me, and that's what's gonna help me speak to other people. That's the point, right? If you have a gift, if something resonates deeply with you, then you should give it back. And so I didn't want to throw that away, the opportunity to go to college, so I came out to LA. I finished online, and I just started doing music. And it was hard. School was hard. And then also music. It's kind of a crazy industry. So I've had a couple of breaks, and then they were bad breaks, and then I was in a girl group, and I learned a lot from that, but never again, Same. It was not the girls, though. I love the girls. It was just you know, you meet some people who I think maybe have good intentions, but they can't always follow through with their good intentions. Or maybe they never did. I don't know.
The road to
I don't
hell.
care.
It's not a good fit.
It's not a good fit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
That's it.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
I love that quote. Yeah.
Victoria, I'm very curious in this journey that you've experienced, what you found about the power of your own voice and what your message is. What are you sharing with the world through your art?
What I want to share to the world through my art is that you can do anything that you want to do if you are able to see it, believe it, achieve it. I know that's so corny, everybody always says that, but it's actually true. You can be the person that you want to be. You just choose to be that way. You can choose to not be, you know, I was very, very shy, I just chose to fall into myself and understand who I am as a human being, and then it helped me to really connect with other people better. Because if you can know who you are, then you can connect with others, but if you don't, then that's...
Beyond singing, though, besides, you know, turning on the Little Mermaid, if you will, and resonating, what's maybe the first thing you could do, or something that you do or you practice to really find that voice within yourself, to really be able to express that on a daily basis?
On a daily basis? Okay, well, like I said earlier about my morning routine, I go through phases. Sometimes I go through this kick. If I'm feeling very low vibrationally, I will go do something charitable, just because. I mean, not selflessly, but just it makes me feel better. If I could do that, I do gratitude journaling. Again, I talked about before, just like self-positive talk habits and changing old habits into good, better ones.
I think it's a really important conversation to realize that even though once you've flipped that switch, that you've turned your voice on, if you will, it's still something you have to deal with every day.
Yeah,
It's an ongoing battle.
Oh yeah, 100%. I still fall into fear sometimes. I still fall into. I go inside and just kind of like shut off, like
hibernate.
Yeah,
totally.
right, totally. So I try to just not let fear overtake me and just kind of break through it. Honestly, sometimes the best thing. So writing was a big piece of that with me. I don't know why, but I was so resistant towards writing, and I was just kind of tired. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of being asked to write and being afraid of it. And so I just sat down and I just wrote songs. And I got A Better Tomorrow came out of that. And it's a really it's almost like a prayer.
I know for me, when I was trying to journal, the biggest fear I had is that it would make my emotions a reality. It was something I didn't really want to be real. I compartmentalized and I thought, I'm not really feeling that way. If I write it down, it will be real. If it's on paper, it makes it real. What is it that maybe you were afraid of in that? What were you afraid of speaking or releasing?
Well, honestly, I mean, there's a lot of things that I was afraid of, but I think that's the point, is you need to look your demons in the eye and just battle, if you will. Just battle on paper, battle in music, put it in a song.
Battle on stage.
Battle on stage. Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that somebody else might have that battle too. And it helps to feel like you're not alone. So being authentic is a really important part of that. It's just, this doesn't really make me look good, but if I put it on paper, it'll help somebody else feel like they're not really alone in that
think
feeling.
it makes you look even more perfect.
Oh,
Really, it does. It does.
Thank you.
So tell us what you're up to now. What are you looking most forward to?
Well, I'm really excited about releasing Last Time. It's out right now, of course. I just want to see how, when artists are sensitive. So I want to see if people resonate well with my music, and if they enjoy it, if they want to hear more, if anybody wants an album, an EP to come out, releasing more singles. And right now I'm in the process of writing some more single songs that some of them are already completed and they're going to be released in the next couple of months. And other ones I'm still working on, and I sometimes go back and start all over, and then you know the process.
Well,
is crazy.
congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations for just following your passion. I think that that's what people have to get, whether you're starting, whether you're, Grammy, whether you're whatever, it's all just the labor of love. And if we're able to do that, then I feel like we've won the lottery as well.
100%.
So tell people where they can find and follow you.
Sure. You can find me on Instagram at Victoria Renee Hand. Renee is Renee. Or on Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, pretty much all the streaming platforms under Victoria Renee.
Great.
Easy peasy.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. Thank you.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La Land here on Transformation Tuesday, talking about emotional intelligence and turning fear into joy. And the question I have for each of you is, what's the one tip you might give people out there who are maybe drowning in fear and they want to turn it into joy? Is there one thing that you would recommend that's really worked for you that you know would work for them? Let's start with you.
Imagine the worst case scenario. Imagine what the worst thing is that could possibly happen. Laugh at it because it probably is pretty funny, and then move in the direction of your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good answer. I'm out.
I think for me, what works, just like maybe take some alone time. Maybe think, like what you said was so perfect. Just take some alone time. Think, like reflect, and then think about the worst scenario. Like that sounds pretty good.
That sounds like the right thing to do.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. Maybe you should write a book about fear. Or
I
something.
know. That might be a good idea.
And maybe you should sing a song about it.
Okay, done and done. That's so weird that you just said that. I wrote a song about it last night.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's not done yet, but that was just really funny that you said that.
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
I know.
There are no accidents.
There are none, are there?
It's really interesting. And when I think of fear, I think about it's always because I'm feeling divided at some level. And so I know that for me, fear is just a place that says, oh, you got to get back in and get tuned into divine and do your meditation, feel the oneness. And in that, all innovation comes, all answers come, everything. So it's for me, there's only one answer to everything, and it's connection to source.
That's it.
Yeah, it's stop thinking.
Yeah.
Stop thinking so much. That is the only thing that's ever worked for me. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe in peace of mind, but I do believe in peace of no mind. It's the only peace I've ever
That's so
experienced.
funny. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that just jump in. Just do. Like, why are you so afraid of this? What's the worst thing that can happen? It's not gonna happen. Probably. And if it did, you're going to be okay. That's the thing. It's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the
So
anticipation
just
of fear
start.
is so much worse than the reality and the experience of fear itself.
Yeah, for me, I do this really cool thing where I just look at the whole big picture and I start panicking. And it's just present. It all comes back down to present.
Yeah,
If you just focus on this moment, what do you need to do in this moment? It gets through the whole thing, and the next thing you know, you're looking back at the thing you were afraid of, and it's just not scary at all.
Well, thank you for being in this moment with us on Transformation Tuesday. We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. All of today's interviews are available as a podcast, and the whole show is streaming on EverTalk TV, on Apple TV and Roku.
That's right. We're waking up the world together, you guys. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, follow these amazing people. Have a beautiful day, and may you transform your emotions, mastering them.
It's going to be a Good Morning La La Land. Yay. Cheers, everybody! Super fun show.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I drank mine.
Oh, that's all good. I love that you wrote. It's interesting, isn't it? Like, and I find that more and more consistently that like when there's something on my mind, and part of it is selective perception, but something on my mind, I start seeing it everywhere, hearing it everywhere, and it sort of validates also that it's a song, for instance, that you should finish. Or,
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, I made